Hello and welcome to Apex Racing TV and the first ever round of the Apex Racing League British GT Championship here from Silverstone. I am Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me this evening is Ryan Walker in the commentary box with Marco Barbier in on the cameras today. Like I said, we are here at Silverstone for the first ever round of this championship. And Ryan, I'm excited about this. We have got a bumper field, almost 60 drivers in the GT3 and the Porsche Cup cars. We've got a 20-minute and a 40-minute race this evening. And, well, we are going to be in for some barnstorming action tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Sam. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this series. As you say, Sam, it's an absolutely fantastic turnout for the first round of the season. And I think in the GT3s and the Porsche Cup cars, I think we could be in for fantastic racing. And yeah, there's some some familiar names in the pack, and also some new names in the pack. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who does well in this series in the first round.
Yeah, definitely. And some really competitive drivers out on the field as well. Some good contingencies from teams as well. Some teams are really committed to this series, which is fantastic to see. So we thank them a lot. Of course, we should also say that this series is sponsored by Immortal, who are offering the two winners of each class a £100 voucher to use at Immortal. So certainly do check out their Facebook page. Have some fantastic models of race cars, which can have your own iRacing livery in or whatever sim racing game you run. So really a fantastic price for that, and we do certainly thank them for making this series possible. The drivers are just setting their qualifying laps at the moment. They've got 10 minutes. They can put in 4 lap times, which is should be enough because it's a long circuit this at Silverstone. And I don't think, Ryan, you've ever commentated on a race around the new Silverstone. But have you driven on it at all? I say it's the new Silverstone. It is the 9 years old Silverstone. But I really like this place. I don't know about yourself.
I have to be honest. I don't own the new Silverstone at the moment, so I've not had a chance to do any laps around there. But from the races I've seen on some of the broadcasts from the companies, and also in other series, the racing's been really good. So I think tonight we should be in for some really great racing as well. And I think with this new Silverstone as well, I think it could be.
Yeah, it could be an awesome race, and also that start as well. Got to keep an eye on that one. You've got that very tight club Vale chicane, and could have some issues. Could the drivers there? You'll see that none of the drivers are near one another, and have got 60 drivers. So you'd expect them to be, bumper to bumper. It is solo qualifying, though. I think that was probably a wise thing to do. Otherwise, you'd have multiple classes, and now, whenever we've tried that in the past, hasn't tended to work too well. Martin van Loosenhoff, by the way, is top of the GT3 drivers. We're halfway through this qualifying session, so it's Van Loosenhoff currently leading. There he is in his Rev Match Esports car, a relatively new team, pretty much renamed, but still a new livery, a new colour scheme, new branding for those guys. And currently got Nick Madsen as well on the top of the Porsche drivers. He's a very competitive Porsche driver for TechSense Bitstone Motorsport. Also got Steve Clays as well for Red Bull Racing Esports. And there's going to be some nice liveries out here today, Ryan. I've just looked at a couple of them, to be honest, and they're setting a high standard. Good to see such a colourful grid.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just looking throughout the field as well, and especially in the Porsche Cup class, Tim Claessens has a really nice livery running the Torque Freak racing livery, and also Tim is one of my teammates from the team. So yeah, probably one of my favorite liveries from that team, and also Harold Stadler running the Fitzstyle Motorsport livery as well. So yeah, there's plenty of variation out there.
Yeah, it's really good to see that. Good to see the Lewis Ward's fan club as well in high numbers. I say high numbers. One person at the moment, and I know he has thousands of fans. Does Lewis Ward? Hopefully, he'll have a chat with us later on in the day. Of course, personally, I'm the founder of the Ian Roots fan club. Unfortunately, he's not out here today, but some of his Sim Racers World teammates are. Stuart Musselwhite is one of them, and they're another team who have really committed to this championship. It's great to see. I think 6 of their drivers out on the field, and the majority of them in the GT3 cars. And of course, we've also got a little bit of bias towards this man, Sam Kumo, who did win the Thursday night BSR Porsche Cup Championship. Bit of a mouthful, that. But he won it. No one else really turned up, he says, at least. But we won it fair and square. And so we've given him the car number 1 as defending champion, if you will. And certainly wish him the best of luck.
Yep,
As,
absolutely. Is a Oop, sorry, Sam.
no, you can continue what you were going to say.
I was just going to say I'm looking at this this Audi livery as well. The this livery here we're looking at right now, and it's probably in the GT3 class anyway. It's one of my favourites, and yeah, it's probably at the moment anyway, probably right up there for the livery of the season.
Yes, absolutely. We ought to have that award, actually, to be honest. Yeah, maybe there'll be for the season 2 if we do one of these championships again. Also, thanks to Mushy Minion, who's supporting Jonathan Stegers out there. So good luck to Jonathan. He's a bit scared of crashing, but best of luck to him. There is a lot of GT3 cars out there, though, so I think about 40 of them. It's going to be difficult for him to finish too high up. Currently, we've got Martin van Liesveld on the pole position. There is Stegers, but he is not going to be able to get in another lap time because he's stuck in the pits. And yeah, 1 minute 30 to go, and it takes about 2 minutes to get round this circuit, so not enough time there. So yeah, Van Liesveld currently on pole position. He's half second clear of Tom McMahon. And me and Marco have followed Martin Van Liesveld in the Sim Racers World GT series, and he is very strong, so he's certainly going to be one to beat. But Ryan, of course, we've got the reverse grids, which is always going to mix it up a little bit, and that's something that Martin hasn't encountered before, and that will really make things interesting for the second race, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, Sammy, the second race, we've got the reverse grid wheel. So, yeah, if some drivers don't really have a good race in race one, there's always a chance for them to get some redemption in race two, of starting closer to the front. So, yeah, it'll be interested to see how it pans out this evening, with it being the first round of the season, the series, and yeah, especially it'll be interested to see how some of these quick guys get to the front or get through the field at least.
Yeah, and it really does test your different skills. Not only do you need to have good pace and good qualifying, you need to have that racecraft as well if you want to put together a good championship. 6 meetings, 12 rounds in all. And by the way, the 2 races count evenly towards points as well. So real opportunity for some of these drivers. They are coming to the end of qualifying. 10 minutes has been complete, and there we go. We are about to go to the first ever race, and it should be a rolling start as long as I've set up the session correctly. Ideally hope I have done so. It should all be going okay. So we can go through the grid now, and on pole position, it is a rolling start. Gets in. I've done something right. Martin Van Liesveld on pole position by 0.2 of a second over Jackie Lotzman. It was pretty close. Good final lap there from Lotzman to put himself ahead of Michael Dreschler in third. Tom McMahon was in fourth. Then it's Lewis Bibby, Jack Nola, Andrew Brown, Ben Gregory, Ole Christian Nunberg, Jesper Lind rounding out the top 10. And there are a lot of GT3 drivers, so I'll let that scroll through for you now because you can see there are a whole lot of them. And I'll jump to the Porsches now. And it's Nick Madsen for Pitstone Motorsport on pole position, but this class is looking really strong. And trust me, there are some terrific drivers in this field. Brendan Cronin is on the front row with him. Austin Hervase is in third. Next, Taj Edwards, Tim Claessens, David Barraclough, Ferenc Kern, who was very strong in the BSR Sunday Porsche Cup, and then Phil Lake, Hal Stadler, Steve Clays, Sam Kumo, Whoop Whoop, George Gruber in 44th position overall. And then hopefully we'll have a couple of other drivers taking the start as well. That's 44 drivers, and we might see a few more after that, but the others did not set qualifying times. So they are just gridding up at the moment. And about to get this 20-minute race underway. Could be a bit of an awkward start, like I said, Ryan, because I mean, it's quite a unique start to the race here because the Porsches in particular are going to be putting their foot down going into that final chicane.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, excuse me, as a yeah, everyone's just lining up at the moment. I think, yeah, this the first lap of this race could be really close with all these cars being bounced up, and yeah, especially with it being a new track as well, and some of these guys might have not raced it before. So yeah, it'll be interested to see how these guys adapt to it in the GT3s and the Porsche Cup cars. As yeah, we're underway with the rolling lap.
You'll see that the pace car is the Mustang, which is undoubtedly the best pace car. That was a deliberate action by myself to put that at the front, and it will duck into the pits. And this, the first ever Apex Racing League British GT race. Very glad for all of you to join us for this. And it's going to be Martin van Nieuwsnod. He's going to be getting away from pole position for Rev Match Esports. He rounds the final couple of corners on this formation lap, and he puts his foot down. Van Nieuwsnod gets away from the rest of the field. Hopefully there won't be too many incidents on this opening couple of corners. You can see Van Nieuwsnod straight away pulling a couple of tenths clear of the rest of the field. So far in the top 15, no changes whatsoever in that Porsche, in that GT3 class. In the Porsches though, Nick Madsen still leading the way. He left a good gap, followed my instruction as well. And he's still ahead of Brendan Cranian. Actually, that chicane, as if anything, worked quite well. Everyone's pretty much got into single file. Top Freak Racers just in the background there, I think going a bit side by side. But apart from that, very civil from the drivers, and well, that's pretty miraculous. 49 drivers took the start, and so far, no major collisions. Jackie Lotzman still in second place, but he's under big pressure from Michael Dreschler, just about staying ahead in his Audi R8.
Yep, just looking throughout the field as well, looks like everyone's managed to, well, so far at the moment on lap one, is everyone's managed to make it through without any issues, and yeah, so far so good. But as just looking throughout the field, and yeah, there's some battles starting to develop already.
Yeah, could have a change of position here. Chris Wood right on the tail at the moment in this little gaggle of cars. Lots of drivers picking up off tracks. They will get some penalty points if they pick up lots of off tracks out here, so they do need to keep that in mind. And if you get no incidents for the entire race, you get 1 bonus point. Which a lot of these drivers will be craving, I imagine. You can see this Porsche class ever so evenly matched. Really difficult to call if he's going to be able to pull away Nick Madsen out in the lead here. Issue for Van Loosenord, is there? Yes, there is. Quite extraordinary. The pole sitter and the big favourite for race 1. Maybe he's picked up a slowdown there. Martin Van Loosenord seems to be getting back up to speed, but well, we were talking about the reverse grid making it difficult for himself in race 2. Well, he's made this race 1 very difficult for himself now because he's dropped a lot of positions. So we see side by side going into club and bear a little bit of contact amongst some of the drivers. And that is Jack Nola just moving up. Ben Gregory's up into 4th place. He's had a terrific start. 4 places so far. And he's just at the head of these guys. Also, here comes Jesper Lind down the inside of Ole Christian Unberg. Unberg might try to come back, but well, here he goes into the hairpin. Really, this race got really exciting now in this race too. They were so calm in race in lap 1, Ryan, but this lap 2, they've really started to battle.
Yep, absolutely. As just watching the throughout the field as well, it looks like yeah, yeah. For some reason, my iRacing is playing up a little bit. So yeah, there's cars flickering everywhere. So, but yeah, there's at the moment there's not been any issues at the moment, Sam. It seems to be everyone's been sensible and just settling down a little bit.
Yeah, it's really good to see. Van Loosenor, by the way, dropped down to 13th place after those issues. So it means that Lotterman is leading the way in the GT3s. This is your Porsche leader, Nick Madsen. You can see Dreschler and McMahon in Huber Racing Esports and Evo SR. That's the teams I got down, but they seem to be wearing the same livery, so it might well be teammates, those two. They're certainly keeping a very good pursuit, and you can see they're so fast, these drivers. They're almost keeping up with some of the GT3s as well, really exhibiting their fantastic pace. We might have to go back to P6 or so because there's quite a queue. You can see behind Jack Nola, kind of. He's already dropped one place from his start. Unberg is trying to get past him. Gregory Ranks in this, Chris Wood, James Saltz, Mike Horder, Marks van Liesnoord as well, just at the rear of this. And also Angie Brown and Ashley Blake Hood as well. Saltz going side by side with Horder here. And he's just about going to get ahead. Horder goes off the circuit, goes off over the sausage curb a little bit. That could be problems for him. Goes off the circuit. I don't think he'll pick up a slowdown for that. Might pick up a 1x. He won't go one bit. As down the inside, who is that? Going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Not quite. That backs out a bit well. And now we've got a couple of
Oh,
drivers off. That's Ben Mears and Ashley Blake Hood, I believe.
yeah, I just looked in the background as well into the old into the new turn one, I should say, or the latest turn one. I keep getting mixed up, but yeah, there was contact behind of a Ferrari and a Mercedes getting caught up with each other. I think it was a Team Mad car, and I think it was Benjamin Mears.
Yeah, Mears spinning around. Fortunately, I don't think there's too much damage through either car. There's lots of runoff at this circuit. Here's Ben Gregory and Lewis Bibby. These two work together for World GT, so I don't expect them to be too hard on one another. They might well be collaborating with setups for this series as well. You can see Jesper Lind as well, who also works with these guys, I think, in World GT. Or at least are part of the same team. Just behind, here comes Bibby, trying to get a bit of a run. It's always difficult to make a move going into Cop's corner. Got to be very ambitious. And you can see he just stays behind. This the battle for 4th position currently. And
Yep, I
with
think. I was just going to say, I think Lewis was trying to make a move, or just showing Ben Gregory that he was there, but he wasn't going to do anything silly. But yeah, I think it's probably better that both of them work together and try and maybe just pull away from the other cars behind and just build up a little bit of a gap as they pull it back through the field at the moment at James Salt and who else? I think someone behind him, Andrew S. Brown, I think it is. Sporting the Grip TV livery. So yeah, it's good to see. Good to see. Good to see I'll say it again. Streamers on the track, getting some racing in. So good to see.
absolutely. Of course, don't go to their streams. Stick with our streams, obviously. And yeah, that was. I think that was Brown then trying to get past Salt. So he couldn't make it though. Martin Van Loosenor, by the way, up into 11th position. Now checking in on the race leader of the Porsche Cup. Not too much going on here, although to be fair, there's so many cars that I struggle to fit all of them in on my timing screen. May well have to adjust that a little bit. But yeah, still Madsen half a second ahead of Cronin, and then it's Hervase are ahead of a couple of the GT3s. You can see there, they're not racing against each other. They're completely different classes, of course. Also got Russell Davis here. Having some battles with Martin Tilgard. Here comes Alexander Godfrey, though. He's going to go down the inside in his BMW. You could see the range of cars here. A couple of Ferraris as well in amongst the field. And nicely done there from Davey. And loses that position. In 28th place.
Yeah, I was just looking throughout the field and the Porsche. Just looking at the Porsche Cup class at the moment, and it's still Nick Madsen leading there from it looks like Brendan Cronin and in third place Austin Hervius. So yeah, it's still close in the Porsche Cup class up at the front as one of the Torque Foot racing cars goes for a bit of rally cross in the grass. Who was that? That was Tim Claessens.
Yes, he was running in 5th place was Claessens. So, and that's a little bit of a strange mistake there. Seems to get on the power very early coming out of that corner in the Porsche, which does really understeer around this circuit, but at the same time, of course, has a lot of power on that rear end. So it's very much a balancing act whatever circuit you go to, let alone this place where it's more difficult than ever. You can see side by side here between well, that's just so dealing with the GT3s, I think, is Nick Madsen and co. Nick Madsen ahead of the Audi. Hopefully we won't see any issues here. This is Bal just going down the inside. I think he is a little bit faster as Bal. And just about making that move for Rev Match Racing. And Madsen now under big pressure from the driver behind. Could we see a change of lead? No, Madsen just about cuts across Cronin's nose. But that's the difficulty when dealing with traffic. You can see these drivers are really struggling to race one another when they've got GT3s racing with them at the same time.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, it could be helping. Nick a little bit. Maybe try and build a gap a little bit with the GT3 cars starting to come through as well. So yeah, it's allowed Nick to just to build a bit of a buffer to the other two cars behind him. But yeah, it seems to be everyone's acting sensibly at the moment. But yeah, I don't want to jinx anyone at the moment.
Absolutely not. We've got almost 3 wide with Cronin having to defend from Gervais. And he is trying to get past, and that's Matthias, Roger Rios Matthias, just getting past those guys, trying to now catch up to Nick Madsen. So I think just having some issues earlier on, and it's difficult for these guys when you have a spin drop behind the Porsche field, and then you've got to make your way back up the order again. A little bit of a quiet race at the moment for Martin van Loosen. Of course, he had that issue on that point, as we see a spinner, and Angie Brown benefits from that. It was Mike Horder and Christian Unberg, and also maybe one other driver, all spinning together. And unfortunately, they've lost quite a few positions, and this is how it happened going into Stoke Corner.
Yeah, I was just wanting to just looking at to see what happened. Oh, it was just I think the boosted car just turned in a little bit and just never left enough space for the car up the inside of him. But yeah, both of them have managed to get going again, so they're still in the race at the moment. As we look at one of the Fitzstyle Motorsport cars at the moment, that is, I believe is it Ben Gregory?
Yes, at the moment, Ben Gregory as Lewis Bibby tries to go down the inside. These guys are having an awesome battle. It's for 4th position at the moment, which would be some pretty big points, of course. Round the outside there goes Lewis Bibby. This could be an awesome move. We've seen lots of moves like that from, I believe, Mark Webber, perhaps, around this circuit in the past 2012, I believe that was. And he's trying to make the move down into Copse Corner. Across the old pit straight they go. 4th and 5th, side by side. Jesper Lind just behind. Can Gregory pull enough ahead? Yes, he can. Deep on the brakes as well. And he is doing everything he can at the moment, is Ben Gregory, to hold on to that position. But so far, very respectable racing from those two. We've still got lots of men, Dreschler and Mahan, still leading the way in that class. Actually, Blake Hood, unfortunately, with some issues there. He was running in a decent position, was Hood. He dropped down to 25th position before this incident, I believe, and some perhaps terminal damage, and he does not get a fast repair either to fix that car.
Yeah, it looked like Blake. Yeah, it looked like he just got caught up with another boosted motorsport car, and just yeah, just he was just unfortunate. Unfortunately, he was just a passenger, and nothing he could have done.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see him back for race 2. Of course, won't be within the reverse. Actually, could be in the reverse grid. It depends if he finishes the race or not. We do have some pretty large ones available, but about half and half, whether or not we'll see something around 15 to 20, or we could see something about 35 to 40. To be fair, whatever reverse grid we have, we know we're going to be in for an exciting race, because this has been exciting enough, and this is based on qualifying times, of course. Here is Tim Larson's after that spin earlier on in the race, and he's trying to get past Hal Stadler currently. Stadler, of course, a very quick driver in the UAV8 Supercar series, which had a terrific race yesterday. After you've watched this, watch that. It is 90 minutes, but trust me, you will not enjoy a minute of it. It was absolutely enthralling. And Stadler went from 25th to 6th place there. I think he's going to drop position today, though. Tim Claessen's down the inside, takes a lot of curve, almost flips the Porsche around, and they are easy cars to get on their roofs as well. But Claessen gets past for Torque Freak Racing, and that's really betters his chances of perhaps getting within the reverse grid for race 2.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a nice move by Tim. He managed to get up the inside, and managed to get it stopped into the corner, and managed to make the move up the inside of Harold, and manages to gain another position.
Little shout out to some of the drivers who've gained lots of places up there. Robert Lundgren's gone up 6 places, James Underhill 6 places, Stuart Musselwhite 10 places. Pim Bao up 17. Also, Vikan and Roger Rios Mateus up 14 places. So some really good drives out there from various drivers who perhaps had poor qualifyings. Here comes Bibby though. He's already, well, he started in 5th place, had a couple of issues, allowed Gregory past him. Ever since then though, he's looked faster than Gregory, but there's been absolutely no relief whatsoever. You can see by the state of their cars, pretty clean. Still a little bit of bonnet damage there for Bibby, but apart from that, very clean driving from these drivers. They've still got 6 more minutes to settle this one. So time for Bibby, and quite remarkably, they're actually keeping the drivers behind at a comfortable distance. Martin van Loosenholt, though, is now the next driver behind, and so he'll be catching up to these guys quite quickly. Gregory, Ryan, just seems to be offline in every single corner. He's doing everything to defend, but this is some masterful tactics from him at the moment.
Yeah, it just seems to be whatever line that Gregory takes trying to defend. He tries to defend the racing line. He's always offline for the next corner, so yeah, he's having to defend everywhere and just to try and stop Bibby trying to get by him. But yeah, he's managing to hold Bibby off at the moment. But yeah, Gregory and Bibby battling each other is allowing Van Loosenhoort to catch up to these guys, and I think it's only a matter of time before Martin gets by both of them.
Yeah, I think so. He is looking significantly fast, but the way that Gregory's been defended so far might be difficult for him. Issues there for Robert Lundgren, who was in the top 10, I believe. He drops behind Mike Horder, who's already had an issue. Musselwhite gains yet another place, up 11 places. Well, this happened, and to be fair, going too wide into that corner, well, they get through it initially somehow. Oh, and it's the next one then. And Lundgren, he was kind of off the circuit, but at the same time, maybe the team mad drive didn't quite leave enough room, but I mean, there you go. They can, protest stuff, and I'll be looking through those protests during the week, see if anything yields a penalty. But at first glance, at least, nothing to suspect. Gregory, so under pressure from Bibby, tries to go down the inside, almost sort of a Vettel moment there. Into the Vale chicane. And Van Loosenholt, as we assumed, is onto the back of these guys. A little bit of a difficult situation here for Van Loosenholt. Undoubtedly probably the favourite for the championship after his incredibly strong performances in the Sim Racers World Championship, which is returning on Apex Racing TV in the next month or so. It'll be on the iRacing Esports Network, but it'll still be broadcasted by us. Here comes Van Loosenholt down the inside. Good defence though from Bibby. He's going to wrap it round the outside, and it's good defence. Nicely done.
Yeah, I have to say that was good defensive driving from Bibby. He managed to hold off Van Loosenhoort, and I thought Van Loosenhoort would have had the move sealed, signed, sealed, and delivered. But yeah, fair play to Bibby. He's holding him off very good at the moment.
Yeah, doing an awesome job of hanging on to 5th place with still a 4th place if possible. I'll just take this opportunity to thank everyone who's tuned in. 60 plus viewers. We super appreciate your support. And if you haven't already, please leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. Check out our Twitch channel as well, and also like our Facebook page as well. Also, if you feel like taking part in this race, there's not too many spaces available, but certainly do check out our Facebook page. And you can see in the pinned post some of the sign-up details to take part in round 2, which I believe will be at Alton Park off the top of my head. 5 rounds in the UK, 1 round at Spa, just like the real-life British GT series, and really trying to recreate that as best we can. So, still, Gregory ahead of Bibby, ahead of Van Loosenholt. I will just let you know that Nick Madsen's still leading the way in the Porsche Cup class. Not much movement at the front of that field, hence why we haven't been showing much of it, but it's still Madsen ahead of Cronin, ahead of Hervase, ahead of Edwards, currently in 4th position. You can see it's quite close between Madsen and Cronin, but so far, Brendan's really not been able to make too much of an impression, and they haven't got many more laps to go. 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look back at this battle between Ben Gregory and Lewis Bibby, and just behind them is Martin Van Loosenhoort. As Loosenhoort tries to go round the outside, but he does a switch back on Bibby, and I think he'll try and do the switch back on Bibby again and try and get a good run. Yeah, it's got a brilliant run in the exit of the corner.
Almost too good. He caught him a little bit too early going into that kink. down the village straight they go. So the Wellington straight they go. This time, actually, I think Van Loosenor might just have it. Bibby was very good on the outside of this corner earlier on, and he's not giving up whatsoever. He is taking it to the defending Sim
Oh,
Racers World
contact.
champion. Contact between the two of them. Van Loosenor goes wide. And once again, just hard racing between those two drivers. And Lewis Bibby, his outside lines, forget about hitting the apex. He should just go around the radius of all these corners because he's carrying some terrific speed. Here comes Van Loosenord again, but he'll back out of it.
Yeah, I thought Van Luzard would have got by Bibby like really quickly, but fair play to Lewis. He's managing to hold off Van Luzard at the moment and doing a good job as we look back through the field at the Porsche Cup battle for the lead. And yeah, Nick Madson's managing to hold off Brendan Cronin at the moment, and yeah, I have to say Nick's having a good race at the moment, but he's not getting it all his own way.
Yep, Texans Fitstyle Motorsport versus Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing. As Van Loosenor's actually dropped back a little, but has he got some damage perhaps on that car? This is a replay of the incident, and what a terrific battle this was between these two drivers. You can see Bibby on the outside there. Van Loosenor tried to really intimidate him, I think, off the circuit, and Bibby was having none of it. He was like, yeah, just kept his most of some of his car on the circuit, and really managed to stay ahead. And it looks as though he's been able to repel that attack now. Still out in the lead, Jackie Lotzman then starts in his final lap of this race. It's been pretty simple for him ever since that slowdown for Martin van Loosenord. He's been dominating. He's just edged out that gap over Michael Dreschler. He's just ahead of Tom Macon. And looks as though he's going to be en route for the first ever victory in this series. Nick Madsen, unfortunately for his sake, he's going to have to do one more lap. Yes, he's got one more lap to hold off the driver behind. Hopefully fuel won't be an issue for these drivers. There's maybe one more lap than the Porsche drivers were expecting. To the outside goes Cronin. But the Porsche car just not having the grip, maybe outside of the racing line. Not where the rubber is, of course. And Madsen is doing everything he can. He's held him off for about 19 minutes. He's just got a couple more minutes in order to win the first race of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just looking back up at the front as well. I don't think I've really watched him much at the front of the GT3 Cup class. But yeah, Jackie Lotterman's still leading at the moment, and I think as you say, Sam, he's only got one more lap to go, and I think if he keeps it on track, he should have this first race of the season in the bag.
Yeah, he started on the front row of the grid, and a mistake from Martin van Loosenord proved costly. And Jackie Lotzman, car number 24, is going to take round one of the opening season of the Apex Racing League British GT Championship. He crosses the line, flashes the lights. He is the winner by 3.5 seconds. Dreschler holds off McMahon across the line. But Gregory's going to come away with a terrific fourth place. Got a little bit of side-by-side here between Ranks trying to get past Jack Nola, who did a terrific defensive job. Congratulations to Jack Nola, because he was struggling a little bit in the early stages, but did well not to lose many more positions. And some of the more of the GT3s coming across the line. I think we're going to have to go to the lead of the Porsche Cup category, because Nick Madsen's still leading the way. He's got half a lap to survive. One last overtaking chance, probably into Stowe. And going to Mackets and Beckett's, at least Madsen has got the advantage. But Cronin just trying to line this up for the hanger straight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brendan's best chance of trying to make a move on Madsen is possibly. I was going to say if he could stick in the slipstream and try and get a good run onto the straight, he could try and make a move, but I don't think he's close enough to Madsen. So yeah, if Madsen just keeps it clean on these final few corners, he should possibly have this one in the bag. But yeah, Brendan's closing up quickly as they head down to the final couple of corners, and Madsen defends the inside.
Cronin's going to go round all around the outside, but just not the pace that he needed. Madsen, who started on pole position, had to defend every second of the way, but he takes the first victory of the season in the Porsche Cup category. Congratulations to him. Got a bit of side-by-side. This is Kern. Has he got a little bit slow, seemingly struggling as Vince Kern. In fact, he's running out of fuel, and now he's going to be overtaken one more position by David Barraclough, that was. Hal Stadler is closing in on these guys, but I don't think he's going to quite make it. Is Stadler. He crosses the line in that position. Claessen's, after that spin, will finish in 42nd place overall, just ahead of Sam Kume and George Gruber. Issue for Taj Edwards. I don't know, Marco, if we could just go back to that last lap, because I saw Taj Edwards, who was running in 4th place for pretty much the entire event. On that last lap, he had a bit of an incident, and I was just wondering what had occurred to him. Here he is. And was he fuel saving, perhaps? It seems to be rather leisurely at this point. He has got a GT3. Hopefully there's not contact here. Not at the moment. Getting a little bit held up by the GT3. At the moment, okay for Taj Edwards, but like I said, he was running in 4th position, but dropped down to pretty much last out of those drivers on that last lap. Anyway, I think we can pretty much go through the result. Unfortunately, I can't see this replay. Are you able to see this replay, Ryan?
I can't. Yeah, I can't see it either.
Oh, okay, I've got it back now. Here we go. So this might be what happened to Taj Edwards. You can see he's already losing quite a bit of time, to be fair. So maybe it was a bit of a fuel issue. You can see him, once again, quite slow through Cop's corner, being really caught, and seemingly a fuel issue there for Taj Edwards, having to let the other drivers go. Such a shame that, because you might not even be within the reverse grid, you might have quite a poor starting position for race 2. So we can now go through the results. Everyone has crossed the line. And so we can say that Jack Lotzman wins the first race of the season, 3.5 seconds ahead of Michael Jeschler, who just about held off Tom McMahon. Ben Gregory, a terrific 4th place for him, ahead of Lewis Bibby. Martin Van Loosenhoff picked up a slowdown on the opening lap of the race. Did pretty well in the end to recover to 6th place. Jesper Lind finished in 7th, with Jack Noller, good defensive display, in 8th. There's Gregory Vranks and Angie Brown rounding out the top 10. There's James Saltz, Ole Christian Unberg, James Underhill, Rob Lundgren, Chris Wood, Mike Horder, Stuart Musselwhite, Rob Thiessen, Ben Mears, and Kip Stevens rounding out the top 20. And there's Thomas McDonnell, Scott Malcolm, Tom Sudley, Alexander Godfrey, John Roberts, Alex Perkis, Russell Davis, Alexandra Arneson, Rafe Cullinan, Roger Rios, Matthias, Pim Bao, Jonathan Martin Stegers, and then also Dean Timms as well. And then the retirees were Ashley Blakehood, Martin Thielgard, Josh Thompson, and Billy Rose. In the Porsches, Nick Madsen won out, only just ahead of Brendan Cronin. Austin Hervase rounding out the podium. There's Lewis Ward, who I think gained like 12 places, so really well done to Ward. Phil Lake, David Barraclough, Brent Kern, Hal Stadler ran out of fuel pretty much on the line. Tim Claessens, Sam Kume, George Gruber, Tor Bourbon, Taj Edwards, Steve Clays, and I don't think Anthony Jacobson took the starts. And so, Marco, exciting news, and brace yourselves, viewers. You're used to 1 reverse grid wheel. You're not used to 2. And, we have got 2, Marco. And, I mean, double the pleasure, I imagine, to spin this, to spin today.
Yeah, I mean, hello everyone. By the way, exciting start of the championship. I have to say, yes, 2 reverse wheel, and not like in the Euro V8s when it's like 2 in 1. This is 2 separate, and they should be on your screen right now. Well, they should be on your screen if I remember to open them, to open the reverse grid wheel, which we'll have to wait a second, because after some extensive testing, I closed it and forgot to open it again. So the drama, the tension is rising. I will let Sam and Ryan, Sam especially because he wrote the rules for the championship, work out the results. Here we go with the reverse grid wheel. Yes, so on the left the GT3s and on the right the cup cars. And you can see there are different numbers and different possibilities for each class. Let's roll it. Okay, so it seems like Sam, you will have a lot of fun in between races. Full GT3 and -2 for the cup.
Ooh, okay. And -2 for the cup. Okie doke. So that means, okay, so you got to finish on the lead lap then. Oh, that's made it really awkward for myself because now Dean Timms is going to be on pole position, but he's in amongst the Porsche cars. So that's going to be a pain to organize. Anyway, I'll get to work on that. And then the Porsches, that's -2. So they have to finish within 2 laps, which means that Steve Clays was the last eligible one. So it won't be Steve Clays, it won't be Taj Edwards, it'll be Tor Berven then on pole position in the Porsche category. I'll try to get that grid up nice and quickly for race 2. It's going to be a 40-minute race. And well, thank everyone who's already tuned in for this broadcast. It's been terrific fun. Well, we're only halfway, not even halfway through the madness. So hopefully you'll be back with us in about, probably about 15 to 20 minutes until race 2 of the evening here in the Apex Racing League's British GT Championship.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail. Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing League British GT Championship live on Apex Racing TV. We're here for race 2 of the first ever meeting of the Apex Racing League British GT Championship. And once again, I'm Sam Patrick, and once again, I'm joined alongside by Ryan Walker. And once again, Marco Barbanir is in the cameras department. We are just a couple of seconds away from starting to grid up. Apologies for the long wait between races 1 and 2. Had a reverse grid, and with the size of the reverse grid, it was quite awkward to manipulate the drivers into position. We might see a couple of issues on the start. We might have to have an extra formation lap just to organise some of the drivers out on circuit. But hopefully, things will go decently, and fortunately they have done decently. We've got the GT3s at the front, and I'm very thankful about that one. Yeah, quite a big reverse grid. Also, we haven't got all the Porsches at the back of the field, so we will just reverse some of them, and so we will have a delayed start, but should still have nearly 40 minutes of action coming up. And Ryan, that first race was pretty exciting. This second race with its big reverse grid will be potentially even more exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. With some of most of the quicker guys towards the rear of the field in both classes. I think it's good to make it exciting to watch, and also a great challenge for the quicker drivers. So yeah, I'll be keep an eye on the quicker drivers to see how they get through the field and how they get on.
Yes, and yeah, we're just gridding up at the moment. So yeah, I've got a few Porsches. We might just let the grid go anyway, because we've got the top 20 GT3s in position. I got a few Porsches out of position, so we do apologise for that, anyone watching back the stream. And yeah, I've got a little bit of confusion there, but we've got the majority of the drivers in their correct places. So it's going to be Martin Thielgaard then from the pole position. Dean Timms in second place. Jonathan Steger in third, as we round the final couple of corners here. And they put their foots down for 40 minutes of racing, the second race of the season. Thielgaard hesitates, but now he gets away. Bit of a poor start there for Dean Timms. Straight away drops a few seconds behind. Got to watch out for some of the GT3s getting past the Porsches as well, just in the background. But it's Thielgaard 8/10 of a second place straight away. Bit of an issue for Dean Timms straight away, who I think has had a little bit of a spin out there. And yeah, he may have just been on the left-hand side there, having a bit of an issue right at the start of this race. Steve Place leader of the Porsches, as we got a little bit of incidents with the drivers as well. But a little bit of damage for some of these guys as well. Steve Place got quite a bit of damage as well.
Yeah, someone's rolled over.
Yeah, lots of incidents. Tom Sudlow involved in that.
Yeah, I was going to say, absolutely mayhem everywhere.
Yeah, some of the GT3s having to get past the Porsche drivers out there, and a bit of contact from various drivers. But yeah, just drop me back down to the field. So we've still got top 17 of the GT3 drivers. Seemingly got away decently. We've got Roger Rios Mateus up into second position in the GT3s, by the way. Steve Clay still leads out of the Porsches, with Taj Edwards still running second place, and George Gruber in third. But yeah, pretty chaotic in this rear end of the field.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a fantastic start for George at the moment. He's kind of just, I was about to say he's doing a good job at the moment, but for a few seconds he was swamped by GT3 cars, and he's about to be swamped by GT3 cars again. So yeah, he's not getting a chance to settle down, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about just keeping his cool at this point in the race. Of course, no pit stops for these drivers. This is a lights to flag race, and so no chance to repair. Some of that damage has got some slowdowns for drivers. That was car number 18, Stuart Musselwhite. Really slow on the inside, just as Martin van Loosenholt was on the opening lap. In fact, I think he's having to come into the pit, so unfortunate there for Musselwhite. He started in about 15th position, I believe. But lap 1 in the book. So Martin Tilcard, he's avoided all the incidents. The Team Vikings car, he probably has very little knowing about it. But there is Roger Rios Matias, who was running in 2nd position, and he's gone for a spin, the number 5 car. Ever so disappointed for him because he'd had a terrific start. He showed good pace, but you can see how many positions he's dropped.
Yeah, just looking at the replay to see what happened to Matthias, and yeah, it looks like he just lost it on the entry of the turn 1 and just got sideways. And yeah, luckily there was some gravel on the exit of on the side of the track, so he was managed to keep it going.
Yeah, didn't pick up any damage, fortunately, there. As, yeah, still, Ben Gregory's just got past Steve Plays, by the way, so there's very few, apart from the ones who unfortunately got involved in collisions on that opening lap. Pretty much all the GT3s have got past all the Porsches now, which is good to see. I'm going side by side a little bit here. For 9th and 10th positions, almost side by side, going into Maggots and Beckett's coming up. As James Sultan, Arneson just ahead of these guys. You can see him a little bit offline, going side by side with another driver, Godfrey, I believe that was. And these guys rapidly closing up to that battle for the top 5. And after that big reverse grid, a real opportunity for some of these drivers who are at the back of the field in the first race to get a good result in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look back through the field, and it looks like John Roberts is up the inside of Russell Davis, and John Roberts up the inside and up into 4th place.
Is Jackie Lotzman and Martin Van Loosenor going side by side. These were the front 2 of the grid in race 1. Unfortunately, we didn't see a proper battle between the 2 of them, as Lotzman's very slow on the inside there, maybe just picking up a slowdown after going so far off the circuit, I believe, at Stowe Corner, and he has to drop behind his rival, potentially his championship rival. You can see there Van Loosenor making a move, trying to fend off the driver on the inside there, going right to the inside. Van Loosenor just about has enough. But that was tight there from the Aldi driver, and he's up 21 places already.
Yeah, Van Loosenor, he wasn't for backing out of it, as one of the Bricktech motorsport cars is off again. That's it's Matthias again.
Not liking that first section of the circuit. We'll be wishing that we used the old layout. But still ahead of the Porsches at least. But like I said, if you get a bit of damage in this second race, it can be very problematic for you. No pit stop for it to be fixed. As we see, that's David Barraclough then trying to get past Tor Bourbon. Bourbon, I believe, started in pole position in class. But you can see Barraclough easily moving ahead. It's that Nick Madsen, who was the race 1 winner. He started right at the back of the field, and he's done a very good job at gaining some places. Based on the inside there, that's Taj Edwards. And once again, Edwards doing having a decent race, but yeah, drops back in that part of the circuits.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking throughout the Porsche Cup class as well. At the moment, the Porsche Cup class is still being led by Steve Clays, and then George Gruber is up into 2nd place, and Nick Madsen's up into 3rd place. So, yeah, Madsen slowly getting through the field in the Porsche Cup class.
Yeah, he's slowly gaining those positions, and he's very nearly right at the front. Could be a fantastic points haul for him today. Angie Brown having to hold off some places. Brown is up 22 places. Nice start for him. Salt is up 18 places. I am quoting this, I think, from the overall standings. He did have a bit of an issue on the grid, and any drivers watching back, I do apologise for all that stuff. We'll certainly organise it for race, the second meeting, of course, occurring next Sunday evening. This is what happened to Sam Puma, an issue for him.
I think. Is he going to hit the wall? Oh, he manages to just keep out the wall. But I think, Sam Kumo just he just got a slight tap from a GT3 car and just got sent into a little spin. But he was lucky to keep out the wall as someone else has spun. Oh, oh wow! That was a who was that? That was
Matthias again. He really hates that wing section, doesn't he? He really does, and this is how it happened. the Team Vikings car on the outside there, coming back onto the circuit. Oh dear.
That was like watching a game of pinball.
Yes. Had issues at lap 1 to that section of the track. And we've seen it occur again. And yet more drivers getting caught up in instance. Had a lot of drivers on the grid, 48 drivers took the start, but already I think we've got probably about 10 of them with very serious damage out there, potentially race-ending damage. One man who hasn't got any damage, though, Martin Thielgaard, he's just driving away from the rest of the field, whilst one Team Vikings car goes flipping up into the air. The other one just casually going about his business, and he's 4.5 seconds ahead of Rafe Carnan and John Roberts. Chris Wood is in 4th place, 15 places going for him so far. Angie Brown carries on gaining places. He's up into 5th. Here's Martin Van Loosnod, who's on an absolute charge. He's getting past his teammate currently, which, as you can imagine, quite simple for him. He's up into 12th place, just got past Tom McMahon.
Yep, it's yeah, Martin's making great progress for the field, and his next target in front of him is James Underhill from Northern Lights Racing, GT Omega Racing. So, yeah, I think if Martin can get through these cars quickly, or quick as possible, he might be able to try and salvage a podium finish. But yeah, it's I think he's still got about 20 or 30 minutes remaining, I think. So, yeah, plenty of time to maybe try and gain some positions. But as we look back through the field at the moment, it's there's a battle for the final podium position between Ralph Cullen, I should say, and John Roberts. And Roberts, I think, he just went up into second place, and I wonder if he'll be able to try and catch the leader in front of him.
Yeah, important move for Roberts, gets that one done. That's of the BMW's Cullinan. He's always been very loyal whenever we've hosted the BSR Sunday leagues. He's always been in that BMW. He really does enjoy it, and he's had some nice results in it as well. He really has come accustomed to it, so it should be a dangerous driver in the championship. And Roberts, though, getting ahead of him up into second place. Here is Stadler, battling with one of the geodesic cars. Big lock up there for Harold Stadler. He'll have the inside for this next corner, but we've seen the outside lines around this Silverstone circuit really work well so far. And once again, we're going to see it work well for the driver on the outside there for Brendan Cronin, who remember finished in second place in race 1, side by side through Woodcut. Down the old pit straight. He's going to have the advantage. Surely going to be Stadler now that he's got the inside into Copse Corner. Surely going to have to track extend his Cronin. Yeah, well, he stays he almost stays within the lines, but that's just about legal, I believe. And he does get ahead. That's a race car esports drive just behind of Rob Thiessen trying to get past these guys.
Yep, absolutely. I have to say that was a great. That was great racing between Stadler and great racing between Stadler and Cronin, and they both left each other enough room. They giving respect to each other, and that was great respectful driving between the both of them. And yeah, just behind them as well is Ferenc Kern. So yeah, it's a good battle between those three guys at the moment. As yeah, Jack Lotterman goes up the inside of James Underhill, I think, and picks up another position.
Yeah, he's a little bit detached. Oh, well, here comes Van Loosnod down the inside. This is a very risky move from Martin Van Loosnod. It was nearly 3 wide. And who's that trying to get the run on the pair of them down this next straight? Van Loosnod up into 8th place momentarily. Can he hold on to it? That's Davis going round his outside. But now McMahon getting past Davis, who runs a little bit wide. And now contact between those two. And I think, as Lundgren's round, somehow didn't collect anyone and almost collects another driver there as he gets back going. That was Lewis Bibby, I believe, just scooting past there. But Van Loosnod's got to the head of this pack. McMahon now in second in that pack, 9th place overall, and Jackie Lotzman's made yet another position up. So Lotzman still giving himself a chance at catching up to Van Loosnod, which he'll care about quite a bit. Rafe Cullinan then under pressure from Brown, and there goes Brown.
Down.
Yep.
Yeah, Cullinan's got a slowdown. I seen him taking too much inside curb in one of the corners in the middle of the S's, and yeah, just took too much curb and got a slowdown, and yeah, lost a couple of positions as Jack Lotterman picks up another position from the Tom McMahon, and he's up into P9.
he's doing awesomely at the moment is Jackie Lotterman. As we see a little bit of side-by-side into the Vale chicane. Russell Davis, who's dropped a lot of places on this lap, now gets overtaken by Jack Nola. Also, Ben Gregory trying to make that move. He's up 25 places, is Gregory, after having a terrific race 1. He started a long way down in this race 2. He's nearly got back almost all those places. As we go to George Gruber, he's taking the lead this round. Gruber, the race leader, he's just taken the lead in the Porsche category, but he gets spun round. Fortunately, not really any damage on that car. He'll be getting back on his way, but he has dropped down into 3rd place.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a. I'm not sure what car that was involved. I think it was one of the. I'm trying to find one of the Rev Mats Esport cars. I think it could have been possibly Steve Clay's, possibly.
I think it was. He just lost the lead. I think just made a bit of contact with the rear bumper of George Gruber going into the Vale chicane. So really disappointing for Gruber, but Clays, who had led the majority of the race. Now Madsen's in fact at the head. So this happened. Oh, well, it was an instant mistake there, Clays. He was really close to the back of his rival. And Madsen quite quickly managed to get back past him. So Madsen, who started last out of the Porsche drivers, won race 1. Looks like he's going to perhaps win race 2 as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was just looking at that incident between Clays and Gruber, and it looks like, yeah, I think both of them are, kind of. I was going to say, no, I won't say it on the broadcast, but yeah, I think it was just a bit of a bumping and rubbing, possibly.
Yeah, hopefully, it looks as though Gruber is okay out there, which is good. So, although actually he's dropped some more places. As I say that, yeah, what's happened to George Gruber? Back into the pits. Maybe having enough.
Yeah, I think I know. George said after race 1 he was having some problems with FPS, some FPS problems around Silverstone. So I don't know if he's still having FPS problems and decided to kind of just call it quits just to be safe. But I'll need to ask and see what the problem was after the race was finished.
And Lotterman's got involved in the collision. These are live pictures, and getting it within an instant there. And he's dropped a lot of the places that he gained. This is him side by side with car number 22, James Saltz. And just a bit of contact side on side. I think there may have been even a little bit of netcode as well. Lotterman, the more fortunate, getting his car back the right way a bit quicker. And some of that good work that he'd managed to accomplish has been undone. He's back into 13th.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was just a racing incident between both guys, and just yeah, as you say, Sam, it might have just been a bit of netcode as we look back through the field at the Porsche Cup class leader. Nick Madsen's managed to get through the field and kept out of any issues with other drivers, and he's up into the leading class. And also, second place is Brendan Cronin for Geodesic Racing, and third place is your very own driver from Fitzdown Motorsports, Sam, Harlow Stadler.
Yes, and Nick Madsen as well. Texans, Fitzdown Motorsports. So they are doing very well at the moment. So well done, guys. I was about to, well, you know, I'm going to make the joke anyway, but haha, I did the reverse grid wrong to favour them. But I honestly didn't, because it put Madsen last place. So it's pretty mad that he's been able to gain that. Any drivers, really do sincerely apologise, because I realise some of those incidents on the opening lap were caused by the reverse grid, but we'll certainly make some amendments to the regulations. Oh, as we see a spin for Stadler, and well, Ryan, I think that's a curse by you on one of my own drivers. Didn't expect that, but Hal Stadler, too fair, didn't spin, so it's not too bad for him. Not too much damage as well. They make these Porsches tough. And this happened. So Racecraft, not Racecraft, Rev Match driver down the inside. A little bit of netcode, I think, again there. Just shows such close quarters racing amongst these guys, and eventually you are going to have those instants.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look back through the field as well, and it looks like Stadler's in a battle with David Barraclough from Torque Freak Racing, and it looks like I thought we were going to go 4 wide there for a minute. So, and Barraclough manages to pass round outside. That was a fantastic move by David.
Really was. And now Stadler's under pressure from the driver behind. Almost contact between these guys. Somehow, that was Clay staying ahead of these guys. Who've got significant bonnet damage, of course. Here's Gervais, who finished in 3rd place in race 1. He's behind Taj Edwards. Those two are not teams. Oh, and off the circuit goes Gervais. And that's disappointing for him. On the tarmac still, but having to wait to get back onto the circuit at such a high-speed part of the track.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, back in the GT3 class as well, up at the front is John Roberts is under huge pressure from Andrew Brown for 2nd place, a battle for 2nd place, and I thought Roberts would have caught up to the leader much quicker, but it's Martin Telgard is still leading for Team Vikings up at the front, so fantastic race from him so far at the moment, and managing to maintain that gap.
He's been all by himself so far, but Brown might start catching these guys. There goes Lotzman. Well, he's already involved in a collision, and I'm surprised that wasn't a second one. I think that's Ben Gregory, perhaps, going side by side with him in the 67 Texas pit stop. We've got driver, and now contact between the two of them. Lotzman and Gregory going together, and Gregory hits the wall, and that's one the unfortunate place where there is a wall quite near to the circuit. Anyway, he's going to try to carry on going. Is worth finishing. You still get a few points, although it is kind of a crumbs, to be honest, once you're outside the top 20 drivers or so. And Gregory there, difficult to judge that one. But into the wall, and that will pretty much be all that he's caring about right now.
Yeah, I think it was just a case of both drivers not wanting to give an inch and just battling for position. Just with so much adrenaline going at both drivers didn't want to give up, and unfortunately it ended up resulting in contact. But Ben managed to keep going as we look back through the field at the Porsche Cup class, and Nick Madsen is still leading, and they managed to build up a reasonable gap behind him as a couple of GT3 cars come up behind him. That's Dean Timms and Scott Malcolm. So both of these guys in the GT3 class are well down the field in the GT3 class.
Yeah, I think Madsen may have just overtaken these guys, so he clearly got some good pace. Madsen started a long way behind these two drivers, so I think just a bit faster in that Porsche. There isn't a big difference in pace between these cars. Could have added a bit of ballast to the Porsche, but then even then, it's relatively negligible, the difference that makes. It does really ruin the steering of the car. So Madsen did get past those drivers, and importantly for him, he'll try to pull away. He doesn't want to start having to fight drivers who he's not even racing against, of course. Here's Lewis Bibby in the mix. He finished race 1 after a fantastic battle with Mats van Loosenholt in 5th place. Jack Nola as well was getting used to holding drivers up. No offence to him whatsoever, because he had a terrific qualifying in race 1. Seemed to struggle a little bit for race pace in the early stages, but then really picked it up nicely later on in the race for V-Racer. And he's once again gained a lot of places in 10th place, as a little bit of side-by-side just behind those guys. I think Jackie Lotzman has just got past Faith Cullinan. And here comes Dreschler, up 40 places, up more places than anyone else. Guess what? I think it's going to be 41 any moment now. He's side-by-side with John Roberts. Round the outside into this next corner. Dreschler's got half a chance at maybe even a race win. Certainly a podium is looking good for him at this halfway stage of the race. Still having to muscle his way around the outside through Woodcut. And Kopp's corner will be a tough effort to get it done. And really good driving there from John Roberts. And this is not good for Dreschler, because this is getting Martin van Loosenholt gets involved just behind.
Yeah, I was about to say Martin van Loosenholt is creeping up on these guys, and if both these guys in front of him get caught off each other, or they get kind of slow each other up, I think it'll give Martin a chance to pounce and pick up a couple of positions. But just watching Martin as well, he's got a great run on the back of Dressler, and he might be able to pick up another position.
Van Loosenord not getting it on corner entry. A little bit wide there from Dreschler. Almost opened the door. Here comes Van Loosenord. We saw a aggressive move from Lotzman on that last lap. And, well, Dreschler, I think he saw Van Loosenord go down the inside. Thought, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Van Loosenord didn't even go for the move in the end. But, I mean, he'll take that move for himself. He'll say, I scared him off the circuit. But I think that was more down to Michael Dreschler than anyone else. Chris Wood as well, having a very good run. In 6th place, just behind these guys. So Van Loosenord, he started this race in 37th place overall. He started, I think, about 35th out of, or maybe about 32nd out of the GT3 drivers. And he's very nearly at the front. He's nearly in the podium places, and he's only 6 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, I was about to say as well, Martin Van Loosenord is he might be able. I was about to say he might be able a chance of a podium finish, but looking at the time remaining, we've still got round about just still. I'm not sure how much time we've got left, but he's got plenty of time to try and get by Roberts and then try and get by Brown and even try and catch up to the leader and try and challenge for a win.
Yeah, 17 minutes to go in the race. We're only just over halfway. We've had lots of action so far. And that big reverse grid that we had, it certainly mixed up the racing. Next up, by the way, next week, I believe we go to Brands Hatch. So the proper Grand Prix circuit, the Indy circuit with 60 cars would be fun, although I don't think it has that high capacity, unfortunately. May have to investigate, but no, it'll be on the Grand Prix circuit, which is hosted lots of GT3 races, so very different to this place. Was going to have to change our attention to this. Nick Madsen still fighting with these guys. Is that Dean Timms and Rob Thiessen now behind him. So Malcolm managed to get ahead then, but Timms hasn't got past, and Thiessen is very close to these guys. I do know that Nick Madsen is quite an aggressive driver from from whenever I've raced with him. So he won't, despite not battling these guys for position, he won't be desperate to let them pass, safe to say. He's got Brendan Cronin catching up to him, just 1.6 seconds behind. You can see him pretty much 4th in this train.
Yeah, I was going. Excuse me. I was going to say it might be worth Nick just letting these guys go. I mean, he's not in the same class as these guys. I mean, yeah, it's poor position, but he doesn't have to challenge these guys. If he could just let them go, but I can understand of Brendan just being behind him and not that far behind in class. I think, and also looking at the GT3 cars behind him, they've got damage, so it might explain why they might not be able to get by Nick.
Yeah, it could well be the reason, and also the Porsche is so quick down the straights. Anyone who's raced in the 12 hours of Bathurst, and if you did even try, congratulations. I mean, you've got to be brave to even tackle that place for that many hours. People will know that when you're lapping drivers in the GT3 cars, the Porsche at the end of the straights is actually faster. Has some terrific top-end speed, and even through the corners, it's not too shabby a car. In this space, it's not too bad. The GT3 does have quite a big advantage. We've got a lot of long corners here, where the downforce really pays off. But when we go to some other place states around the season, we could see the Porsche even faster as we see Brendan Cronin take the lead of the race. I think he went across the circuit, though. I swear he just rejoined in a rather peculiar way. Madsen goes down the inside and he retakes the lead. So these two who were fighting for the race 1 victory, it's battle renewed. They're fighting for the race 2 victory now.
Yeah, just watching the replay to see what happened to Nick, and I think he might have just got a little bit distracted or caught up in GT3 with these two GT3 cars, and yeah, he was in a GT3 car sandwich, and yeah, this allowed Brendan to sneak up the inside and take the lead, but Nick didn't hesitate in retaking the lead.
You got Franz Kern only about 5 seconds behind them as well, so they've got to be a little bit careful of the leaders of the Porsche field. By the way, top 5 in the GT3s, staying static. It's not changing too much, so that's why we're paying so much attention to the Porsches, which is only fair, seeing that we paid a lot of attention to the GT3s in race 1, but the Porsches are certainly the source of entertainment in this one. You can see the two BitTech Motorsport drivers just behind of Dean Timms and Thomas Sudlow now, catching up to these leaders of the Porsche class. And it's Prince Kern in third. Taj Edwards, after a couple of issues for Edwards, I believe, in this race already, he's managed to make his way back up into fourth place. So well done to Taj. David Badclout is in fifth with Harold Stadler, a very close sixth. This time down the Hanger Straight. Doesn't look like Cronin's going to be able to go for an overtake. Not a big slipstream effect in these Porsche cars, nor in the GT3 cars. Used to be a bit more of an effect in the GT3 cars. Pretty much used to be about double of what we have now, but they made it a lot more realistic a couple of years back. Here's Cronin then. Is he going to let his rival go? He's not even his rival, but no, staying ahead is Cronin.
Yeah, I think the GT3 car trying to get by him was thinking about making a move up the inside, but Bach decided against it, and he's going up the inside of Brendan into turn one. So yeah, it gives Nick a bit of breathing space.
Yeah, I'll be thankful for that one. Always want to have a couple of cars between you and your rival if you can possibly help it. But I think Madsen's probably going to get overtaken. The GT3 is good down the straight initially, and he'll get into a bit of a slipstream, but you can see at the end of the straight, you know, they're full power, both of these cars, and the GT3 just can't get close. It is much better on the brakes though, ABS of course in the GT3 cars. No ABS for the Porsches. That would have been an ambitious move there from Dean Timms, but instead backs out of it, probably the wise thing to do. We just had Tom McMahon getting past Chris Wood. They're having a nice battle with Michael Dreschler currently for 5th, 6th and 7th places out of the GT3 drivers. And I believe this is how he did it.
Yeah, just watched the replay now to see what happened, and it looks like McMahon is up the inside of Wood and manages to move up into P6. As I'm just checking the live. Sorry, Sam.
I was just going to say, Al Madsen's looks like his defense might be over against Timms, because this is as close as we've seen Timms for a few laps. There's Sudlow as well, just trying to get past Cronin. Two BritTech drivers going for overtakes, and there they go. A spinner for Martin Thielgaard. Cannot believe it. The driver who has led every second of the first 29.5 minutes of this race, but with 10 minutes to go, he's made a costly mistake, and he's dropped down into 7th place. What a shame.
Yeah, I was about to say it's unfortunate for Martin, because he was having a great race, and I think just watching him on the replay on the exit of the old turn one, I should say, or I could say, it looks like he might have just lost the rear, or maybe he started to lose some grip on his rear tyres, and just put the power down, and it just the rear wheel spun on him, and he just lost traction.
Disappointing then for Thielgaard. He should get a decent amount of points though. 7th place is nothing to shrug about, but it could have been so much more for him. Martin van Liesnold then, he made a mistake on the opening lap of race 1, perhaps denied him race victory there, where he's in the race lead now, and he's looking very strong for it. He's 1.5 seconds ahead of Andrew Brown. I don't think we saw that move he made on Brown, but well, crucially, he is ahead of him. Dreschler in 3rd, McMahon in 4th, and then it's Roberts rounding out the top 5. It's an incident for Steve Clays.
Yeah, just having a little spin on the exit of the corner, heading down to the final couple of corners, and yeah, it looks like he just lost the rear end, and just around she went. But back up at the front is still Nick Madsen leading, closely followed by Brendan Cronin behind him in 2nd place. And I think, Sam, this battle for the class win could go right down to the last lap.
It did go down to the last lap, in the last race, and these two, seemingly the class of the field so far today. Perhaps the favourites for the championship once today's racing is complete. They could end this meeting on the exact same number of points. Remember, there are some points for incidents. If they pick up 10 incidents, then they get 3 penalty points. And for every 10 incidents they pick up, they get an extra 3 penalty points. So if you get 19, for example, you only get 3. But if you get 20, you get 6 penalty points. And if they get 0 incidents for a race, and I imagine in this race, with the chaos we've seen, no one has been able to accomplish that. But if drivers do get 0 incidents, they get 1 bonus point as well. It's a bit of an incentive just to keep it between the white lines, which is quite difficult to do around this Silverstone circuit. And just as a reference, if you win the race, you get 40 points. So 3 points. It's a little bit of an impact, but it's not do all or end all, safe to say. With Cullinan with an issue, he's going rather slowly. Perhaps another slowdown for him.
Yeah, just looking back at the replay to see what happened, and that's Martin Teogard we're looking at. Oh, he gets tapped from behind. So, yeah, it's not going on. It's not going well for Martin in the closing stages of this of race 2.
No, it's been from such highs to such lows, seemingly for Martin Teogard. But I'm sure he's going to be a threat later on in the season. Didn't have a good race 1. I don't think he scored any points in race 1, but still in 12th place despite all these tribulations. He's still in 12th place and could still get some decent points in the bag. So we've got in this race, we've got just under 7 minutes to go. We're getting into the closing stages, and we'll have a quick rundown of the order. So it's Martin Van Liesnod leading the way, 2.5 seconds ahead of Angie Brown. That seems pretty much done and dusted. Van Liesnod looking very strong today. Michael Jeschler is in 3rd place, Tom McMahon in 4th, and John Roberts rounding out the top 5. It's Chris Wood, Lewis Bibby, Jackie Lotzman, who's very fast out there, but had a few setbacks in this race. Jack Nola and Gregory Franks rounding out the top 10. And then in the Porsche category, we got Nick Madsen leading the way. He's 0.3 of a second clear of Brendan Cronin, who we're currently watching right now. Frans Kern is in 3rd place, a bit detached, 6 seconds behind, and he's just been overtaken by Dean Timms as well. And then we've got Taj Edwards and Harold Stadler rounding out the top 5 in that class. Pit stops for Scott Malcolm and Ben Gregory. That
sorry
will
to
not be
interrupt, Sam,
all side by side, yeah. Between the top 2, Madsen's going to have to go round the outside through turn 1, inside for turn 2, but he's going to have the outside for 3. Super wide part of the circuit this, but change of lead then. Brendan Cronin, it's taken him pretty much 2 races for him to make this move, but finally he's got it done. Nick Madsen though will try to come back though down the Wellington Straight perhaps. Can he get the power down through this next kink? Pretty much flat out for both of these drivers. Last time that Cronin made the move, it was Madsen who managed to respond straight away. Is he going to the inside? Cronin doesn't defend it. Madsen puts his nose down the inside. Is there going to be contact? No. Just enough from Brendan Cronin. Super deep on the brakes, and he's got the race lead with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, this is an absolutely fantastic battle in this class, Sam. These cars might not have any like a distance like traction control or ABS, but these cars are still providing great racing as just be improved here.
Is there any opportunity for Madsen to respond? It seems as though it's been Cronin who's the faster of these two for pretty much the entire evening. But Madsen's always had check position. The question is, can he come back now? Certainly his racecraft has been very good, Madsen, so if he can stay close, he's going to have a chance. This is what happened to David Barraclough.
Yeah, but it's just watching David now, and it looked like he tried to put the power down, and they tried to catch the car and ended up fighting with the car, and just unfortunately lost it and went into the wall in the exit of on the home straight.
So disappointing for him, maybe a little bit of a disappointing day for Talk Freak Racing. Still got some decent results, and still got a couple of drivers running out there. Austin Hervase is one of them, I believe. Yes. Oh no, sorry, he's Geodesic. But I think there are a couple of Talk Freak drivers still out on track in both classes. Madsen, he hasn't given up off winning this race, safe to say. He's being struck down, but he's got back even stronger. Maybe down the inside, Cronin was very hesitant on the turn in there, and now he's going to spin the car around. Can he keep it on the circuit? Well, he almost kept it on the circuit. Has the inside for the next corner. Madsen round the outside, gets some decent traction on the curb there, and now lines up his car for the Wellington Straight. You can see how much of that left-hander curb they take on the inside, trying to make it as acute as possible. Cronin, does he defend this time? No, but he's so good on the brakes into that corner as Cronin. Madsen puts his nose on the inside, outside for the next corner. Nearly contact between the two of them. Trying to square off the corner now as Nick Madsen getting the power down. And he's going to have a chance into Kopp's corner. Not a whole long straight this. Can he get his car to the inside of the circuit? Goes to the outside this time. Now Dummies goes to the inside. Nick Madsen. But the corner was just too acute for him. Cronin a little bit offline again, but he'll hold on to this. But what fantastic dueling this is.
Yeah, absolutely. These two guys are going at it, and they're going at it. They're going at it hard but fair, and I think if I was Madsen, I would try and make the move as quickly as possible, but or maybe leave it until the last lap. But yeah, nevertheless, whoever wins this race and this class in race 2, Sam absolutely deserves it.
Yeah, chance for Madsen to build up a little bit of a lead in the championship. 6 extra points you get if you win compared to second place. And despite this being round 1 of 6, you can pretty much trust these guys to really be fighting for the championship all the way through. Here's the race leader then in the GT3s. It's Martin van Loosnod. I imagine that Madsen will know this. He'll have his F3 screen on and he'll see that there's number 1 next to Martin van Loosnod's name. Here comes Van Loosnod then down the inside going into turn 1. Madsen comes across a little bit, but well, can he benefit perhaps from this, Madsen? That's what I was got to view it. Next up for Van Loosnod will be Cronin. And this is could be awkward for Cronin. It's an opportunity for Madsen to go straight down the inside. Almost contact between the Audi and the Porsche. Almost contact between the Porsche and the Porsche. But Cronin has every corner covered at the moment as we are on the last lap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Madsen tried to make a move up the inside when Van Loosnod was lapping both of them. Tried to make the move into turn 2, but he couldn't get the move done as Madsen tries to go up the inside. He's going for it.
Oh, nearly contact. Surely there is contact. How have they not bashed into one another? Now they have, and spinning round. And where's Ferenc Kernin in relation to this? He might well take the lead. Here he is in the third place Porsche. No, they've got back going again. It's Madsen ahead of Cronin. Cronin will go down the inside. They're not stopping battling. This is going to the line undoubtedly. They battle for the race 1 victory. They're battling for the race 2 victory, and nothing can seem to get in their way. You can just see Ferenc Kernin in the background. He's got a hope of maybe battling these guys right at the end of the race if they carry on making contact. But Madsen is doing everything he can to get the overtake.
Yeah, I think that incident between Madsen and Cronin was just a racing incident. Just both guys going at it hard, and unfortunately it ended up in contact as Madsen gets sideways or drifts it through that section. And yeah, looking back at the GT3 class as well, it looks like Van Loosnod's come round the final few corners, or is just about to.
Almost contact between 4th and 4th and 5th. Brown, Dreschler, Mahon. As across the line is Martin van Loosnod. He has won race 2 here at Silverstone. Here he comes, and he crossed the line. Maybe race 1 could have been his if it wasn't for a mistake. He does win race 2. It's going to be Brown ahead of Dreschler, ahead of McMahon across the line. Now, where are the Porsches? Some more's happened, and Kerner's got ahead of Madsen. I think Madsen's got involved in the collision there. Cronin wins though. And what a final lap that was. Kern finishes in 2nd place, Madsen in 3rd. And well, we'll have to get a replay of that. Here is what happened. Madsen closing down the hangar straight. He looks way too far back at the moment. You can see how far behind Ferenc Kern is. So it must have been something quite significant. And Madsen, who lost the lead just a few laps ago, got a decent run coming out of Stowe. This is a long way back. And, well, he's gone for the move down the inside into Bale. And probably carrying a bit too much speed. And they completely stop. And Cronin gets back under the way. Lots of contact. They crash into each other twice on the last lap. And Brendan Cronin wins the race. I think they may protest one another. Just got a feeling. We might have our first season rivalry of the championship. It's 1 win apiece then between those two guys. They would have picked up a few incidents as well on that last lap, I imagine, and probably got some penalty points, which probably negated any positions that they were fighting for. But nevertheless, it was a bit full of pride, and yeah, it was a much more I say serene for Marksman Leesnod. He did gain 36 places. I mean, I don't think that's the definition of serene. But those last 10 laps in the end, or last second half of the race, he was just, grinding those positions out. Had a bit of contact in the early stages, but well, it's that number one that matters, and the defending Sim Racers World GT champion does get a race victory on this opening day of the season. Jackie Lotzman, by the way, finished in 11th place. Winner of race 1 finishes down in 11th in race 2. And so what that does for the championship, I'm not quite sure. I think it might be Van Liesnod leading the way, but also Dreschler as well would have scored quite a few points. So yeah, hopefully you've all enjoyed that. We will try to have some interviews with the drivers. Didn't actually tell anyone from the league to have interviews with us, but hopefully they will still come into our Discord. We're just waiting for a couple of drivers to cross the line. We've got Thomas Sudlow, I believe, who hasn't crossed the line yet. At least he hasn't got a checker flag next to his name. But we can now go through the results. There you go, everyone's crossed the line now. And it is Martin Van Loosenord winning out by 7 seconds over Angie Brown. Just about held off Michael Dreschler at the line. Tom McMahon in 4th. All those guys gaining a lot of places, safe to say. John Roberts was in 5th. Lewis Bibby, a little bit of a quiet 6th, but he made up some good places in that second half of the race. Then there's Chris Wood, Jack Nola, Gregory Vranks, and Alexander Godfrey. And there was Jackie Lotzman, Mike Horder, James Saltz, James Underhill, Robert Lundgren, Rafe Cullinan, Jesper Lind, Ben Mears, Russell Davis, Alexandra Arneson, Ole Christian Unberg, Billy Rose, Rob Thiessen, Roger Rios Matias, and then one lap down was Tom Sudley and Scott Malcolm. We also had Jonathan Martin Stigers, Martin Tilgard, who led for so much of the race. He led for 75% of the race. In the end, finished in 37th place overall. Dean Timms, Pim Bow, and then the retirees were Ben Gregory, who had a big crash at the last corner. Stuart Musselwhite, Alex Perkis, and Thomas McDonnell as well. Those couple of drivers, I think, got caught up in some lap 1 shenanigans. Top of the Porsche drivers then, Brendan Cronin does get a win. He was very close to winning race 1, does win race 2 after starting very near the back of the pack. Prince Kern, well, going into the last time, I don't think he felt as though he had a chance. He was just about a second away, I think, at the line in 2nd place. There's Nick Madsen. Taj Edwards finishes in 4th place. Hal Sadler in 5th. There's Phil Lake, Austin Hervase, Sam Kumo, Tor Bourbon, and then the retirees were David Barclow, Steve Clays, George Gruber, who led for part of the race, Tim Clarsons, and Lewis Ward didn't take the start. So, events, and we've got a few interviews with drivers. So, first up, I think we'll have an interview with Martin Van Loosenord. And Martin, congratulations. Well, first off, we'll get the not so great out of the way. We'll have a chat about your race win in a second, but just take us through what happened on that opening lap in race 1.
I think I had a good start, and then I went wide on the exit of Cops. I think I just lost it on the entry and had a little bit of oversteer. So that gave me a huge slowdown, especially when you're on the first lap. You get a more extreme slowdown. So that dropped me back to P15, I think, 14, 13, somewhere like that. And I had to climb back with the GT3, and I think it's kind of tough overtaking on this track. So I struggled a bit with that, but in race 2 I managed to do it a bit better. So.
Yeah, you've raced a lot in the Sim Racers World GT series, and because that's just a 1 hour race. That's it, kind of just based on qualifying. So I guess you're not very used to these reverse grids, and that was a tough reverse grid because you were in amongst the Porsches at the start of the race. I mean, apologies for that. That was not deliberate. But how did you find that? That must have been really nervy those first few laps.
Yeah, it's like you need to manage the traffic on the very first lap, and that's a bit weird because usually you get that after 50% of the race done. So yeah, you had to do some bit of traffic management. It was kind of chaos because I never had a start like that. So yeah, was figuring out where the good lines were and where not. So yeah, and I did do some reversed grids with Apex Racing leagues in the past with yeah, mostly with open wheelers. So I was yeah, I
Yes,
did
of
them
course.
before, but yeah,
Yeah, you did the Formula Renault
yeah,
3.5 series, didn't you? And I mean, the reverse grids in that weren't quite as big as we had today.
no.
But next race, I believe, is Brands Hatch. Do you have much experience around? I'd say, do you have much experience? You literally won there. No, you didn't win there. Sorry, no, you did. You miss that round of the season last season in the Sim Racers World Championship.
No, I think I won there.
Oh, you did win there. Sorry, they all blur into one. It was so common last season. But
I
yeah,
have to watch it back. But
did you enjoy that one last season?
yeah, definitely, it's really close between all the cars, and I don't think the advantage is for the Audi over there. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the track brings. But it's a difficult track because you have to deal with bits of grass, and yeah, so it's a driver's track, right? And yeah, the focus should be a lot higher than on a track like Silverstone. But yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. So
Yes, absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck for it. Before we let you go, Martin, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
yes, I would like to thank the team. We've been growing a lot in the academy as well, so that's really good. And thanks to them as well. I'd like to thank UGX Racing Simulators. I would like to thank RB RB Skillworks. I want to thank Uitert. So yeah, and I want to thank you guys for covering the series again.
Ah, no problem, Martin. Thanks for having a chat with us, and hope to see you next week.
See you next time around.
So, next up, we'll have a chat with. We'll have a chat with Brendan Cronin, of course, because he won race two. And Brendan, I mean, we were on the edge of our seats for both races because you had some terrific battles out there. But I imagine you've never crashed twice on the last lap and still won a race before.
Uh, Actually, I'd love to say that I haven't, but I think yeah, no, that was intense. That was intense. From the second we grid, I get in the car, hit grid, and look around, and I see, oh, here we go.
Yes, apologies for that grinning process, but you dealt with it well, and both you and Nick, just despite starting right from the back, you seem to get to the front of the Porsche field really quickly. How did you do that?
I'm in traffic management, and I think there was just one like key pile up, and I think it was the final sector. There was it was in the first couple laps. It looked like there must have been like 10 cars just on top of each other in the final few corners. So I just was like, all right, you know what? I'm going for the grass. So just the only way you can avoid a pile up is to not be in it, and if that means going on the grass, sure.
And we just had a chat with Martin van Loosenholt, and he mentioned how difficult the overtaking was around this circuit. You spent a lot of the day behind Nick Madsen. How did you find the overtaking there? Because I think across the entire day, there was maybe one overtake between you guys.
Yeah, yeah, one or two. It's actually quite difficult. You would think that in the wide open parts of the track, especially like sector 2 or so, it'd be easy because there's a lot more room to work with. But if you go a little bit offline, like you don't have any grip. And if you try to make something work and it doesn't, then you lose a second, and it takes you another 2 or 3 laps just to get back into position to be able to try something else. So it's actually quite hard to get a good pass.
And what are Geodesic Racing kind of taking part? What series are you guys taking parts in currently?
I think a bit of everything. DGFX, OEC, SCO and Neo are on the horizon. I'm not quite sure about them yet. I know ProQ's on the horizon. Of course, we're hopping in this. Yeah, a bit of everything.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck for all those events. And before we let you go, Brendan, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to you guys for hosting the series. It's definitely fun. I gotta I gotta get used to the format of the dice roll of reverse grid, but whatever, it spices it up. So yeah, no, thanks to everyone, and of course, team sponsors, Alpine Stars, GoPro, and the rest of the team for.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Brendan, and thanks for putting on such a entertaining couple of races, and we'll see you next week.
I try. All right, thanks, guys.
So next up, I think we're going to have a chat with Angie Brown, who finished in a terrific second position in that race too. Congratulations, Angie, because that was a very tight second or final lap. You, Michael, and Tom were very close.
Yeah, it got close at the end because I kind of overdriven my rear tires and they became shot.
Was that due to the higher track temperatures in that second race?
I believe so. Yeah, I've noticed the track temperatures were a lot hotter, and I noticed my pace was a second and a half slower, and the rear end started stepping out quite occasionally. So
We did
I
it.
slowed down a bit to to cool them back off.
Yeah, he did a very good job at the end there of defending. And of course, you started quite far down the order with that reverse grid, 29th position. How did you find making your way up through the field?
Um, Chaotic. When I hit that grid button, I thought my heart stopped for a second when I saw Porsches gridded up in front of the GT3s.
Yes.
I was thinking, I thought it was reverse grid on both classes, but still separate.
Yes,
But
that was how it was supposed to be. We had a few
right.
technical issues. So apologies for that one. But you dealt with it very well.
Yeah, it was. I don't know how I did it, and how I survived, but I somehow managed to use a lot of spatial awareness, and I kind of backed off a lot instead of diving my nose in there. I wanted to see what happened when the fireworks went off.
And looking forward to the next few rounds of the championship. I think we've got Alton Park and Snetterton and Spa, for example. Are there any rounds on the schedule that really pop out to you where maybe you feel a bit more confident round?
Well, Silverstone's one of them. I definitely love Silverstone. To be honest, that was the first time doing an actual race on Silverstone on iRacing. I haven't actually played for a very long time. I actually subscribed back to iRacing yesterday or something like that after seeing the event get posted on Facebook. But I like Brands Hatch. I'll probably be skipping Setton. I can't pronounce the word Settington, but I'll be able to do Outland Park, Donington, and Spa, and I'm familiar with all those tracks.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing you for those rounds, Andrew. And before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I guess not. I don't really know anybody.
No
The only
problem.
person I know on grid is Kip Stevens. When I used to join the BSR events about 2 or 3 years ago, was the last time I raced in a league.
Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Andrew. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, thank you.
So we have got a couple more interviews to go, but we'll try to make them quite quick fire. And first up, we'll have a chat with Jackie Lotzman, who was our race one winner. And Jackie, I imagine quite a contrast of races. Race one, quite simple, out and lead, manage your own pace. Race two, bit more chaotic. Take us through race one, firstly, because after a mistake from Martin, it looked quite simple for you.
Yeah, I thought Martin would have the pace for sure if he didn't make the mistake. So it would have been a hard race, but when he made that mistake, I knew it was going to be a really long slowdown for him. So then it was just trying to manage the gap, pulled out like 3 seconds, and then just managed it, and yeah, got the win.
Yeah, absolutely. 40 points in the bag. Race 2 was a little bit more difficult for you. You had a couple of setbacks. I think you had a bit of contact with some drivers, but it was tough out there, I imagine, starting so far back.
Yeah, when you see all those Porsche cars in front of you, you're like, oh no. And then the start was absolute chaos. But then after that, it was kind of hard to overtake. So I had some contact with a few cars. And actually, on the last lap, I was on my roof. I thought I couldn't even continue the race, but I still got to drive. I like it just popped back on its wheels again. And then luckily, I still got the points.
Well done on that one. And in terms of the championship, I mean, you've already won a race. You're one of two drivers who've won races in the GT3 category. Are you looking to win the championship and win that £100 Immortal voucher?
Absolutely. Next week, hopefully, I get some more time to prepare, and then we'll see what we can.
We certainly wish you the best of luck for that one, Jackie. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before you let you go?
Yeah, everybody at Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing, the guys are awesome. We're growing quite fast, so it's going very good.
Thanks for having a chat with us, Jackie, and best of luck for next week.
Thank you, guys.
So we're going to have one last interview, and it's going to be with Ferenc Kern, who, after a relatively quiet second race, all of a sudden, Ferenc, you nearly won that one.
Yeah, it was a bit surprising. I saw that I was losing time to the first two, so I thought, okay, just be concentrated and drive and bring it home, the third place. And then the GT3 slapped me, and then I was looking a bit what they will do. And in the end, I saw, oh, it's only 2 seconds gap, and then I saw in the last corner that was quite close to getting the first.
We've seen you in the past racing this Porsche car in the BSR Sunday leagues. Have you been racing it much since then?
No, I think I didn't do even one single race. No, I think, well, maybe one or two official races, but I didn't really drive since the BSR Sunday League. I think I had one participation in Neo and then in the HBD, and that's it. So it's a bit of a return, and I have to get used to the car again.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess this was your first time as well at Silverstone. So how did you find the brand new Silverstone circuit?
Let's say I didn't like the old version, and it didn't improve. So I hate this track. I can't drive it. Yeah, but I had some. It was really lucky at the second race. The first laps were only about surviving, and I saw him on 8th, and then I saw him at 5th. I don't think I did one overtake. No, I was on preparing one. So, but that was also done then by lapping when the GT3 car lapped. I think Stadler in front, and he pushed him wide, and yeah. So I was a bit happy to have this as practice.
Absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck for the next 5 rounds of the championship, Ferenc. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates who are constantly working on the car and sharing some data, which helps me a lot because I'm a bit limited of time practicing. So building a setup plus learning a track would be a bit too much. So yeah, big shout out.
Thanks for having a chat with us, Ferenc, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, and see you next week.
So that rounds out the interviews for this evening, and Ryan, what an evening of racing we had. That was really very action packed out on the circuit, and in the end, a few different winners, 4 different winners from the 2 different classes. Couldn't ask for a whole lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this evening it's been fantastic racing in both classes, and yeah, I think it's a good preview of what to expect for the rest of the season.
Well, I thank everyone who's tuned in for this opening round of the Apex Racing League British GT Championship. Hopefully, you'll be around for rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 as well, coming up in the coming weeks. Next week, we head to Brands Hatch for the second round of the championship. Of course, elsewhere on Apex Racing TV over the next week, of course, we've got the BSR Mazda Amateur Cup. Tomorrow, we've got the Rick Motec series and lots of other series. Also, the iRacing Le Mans series as well on Friday evenings before you'll be back with us next Sunday for round 2 of this championship. So, hope you enjoyed this broadcast. And from me, from Ryan, and from Marco as well, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.